Japan
by Geek Cross.
Cross.
Hi, my name is Anna.
And I'm Peyton.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with a mini-series of sorts, and it's the first episode of our Island Week. Woohoo!
This entire week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will be reacting to videos of performances from Island. The reason why we're doing this is because, one, the resulting group from Island, ENHYPEN, is set to debut at the end of this month. And also, two, we got a question request during our Q&A about Island performances and if we would react to them. So we said we're open to it and asked for requests, and the stages that were left are the ones we're reacting to.
That being said, after this mini-series is over, we actually won't be taking any more Island requests. We're sorry, but ENHYPEN is debuting at the end of the month, so it's time to focus on the resulting group. Also, we were asked a few times if we would do a full Island reaction the way that we had done it for Road to Kingdom. The reason we did not do that is because, as a general rule, Anna and I don't watch trainee survival programs anymore. After Produce 101 Season 2, that one just ended all trainee survival programs for us.
So that being said, we'll be watching two videos today. The first one is from episode 5, third round test. I'm just reading the video title out because we don't know like the rounds and the different challenges they had because we didn't watch the show. Again, sorry. 세 번째 test, 총대 unit, Rainism, second 해, one of a kind, with the trainees Park Sung-hoon, Yang Jung-won, and K. Let's go! So it's dance medley.
It's dancing, yeah.
Okay.
Popping.
So from what I read, most of them are like
that was cool.
very young teenagers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's showing the reactions. Wait, dancing to Rainism in front of me?
Ray.
Oh.
He did a tour! It was so pretty.
Oh, that I like the with the run.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
I'm just very focused, sorry.
I have nothing to say because I don't know dancing.
Ooh.
Who was K?
Oh, dang it, I missed what happened in the back because I was focusing on the front.
He did some sort of like aerial thing.
I don't know any of their names, but one of them is really good at like isolations.
I want to say, is there any way to describe them? But they're both like white.
They're all wearing
black.
black.
Yeah.
Dark hair.
Is it middle part or the one in the windbreaker? Or the
Just it's fine.
I'm sorry. Whoa. Oh.
I wonder, I'll have to look, did they choreograph this or did someone else choreograph it?
I feel like if it's something like
They
this,
probably
usually
did it,
they need
right?
to choreograph it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever did it did a really good job. Oh, self-made choreography at the very end.
Hello, so unlike our usual videos, I will be making comments first because as this was a dance performance and I am the resident singer on this channel and do not dance, I have like nothing to say. However, despite not dancing, I can talk a little bit about performance, like performance quality, but even then, my comments are really short. I'm literally just gonna say who I thought had the most stage presence and why. Like, the person who caught my eye the most was the guy with the middle part. He was wearing a white
It's
t-shirt.
Time.
But yeah, yes.
It is K. It says it in one of the videos. It like confirms it.
He does have the most stage presence to me by far. No, like not shading the other two who performed because like they were still really good, but he definitely like your eyes were just drawn to him on stage because like yeah, when you train and gain experience, you can like improve your stage manners and your stage presence will become better from that. But Peyton and I always say there's also something to be said about natural stage presence too that people are just born with, and I feel like he has that. And also his facial expressions were just really good. His facials were so good. One thing that's really important in performance that sometimes people won't do is that even when you aren't the center or even when you aren't facing the audience, like your back is turned away or like they only see your profile, you should still be doing facials full out. But sometimes when people aren't facing the audience, they'll just like drop their facials because they're like, oh, I'm not the highlight. But you can tell that he was still doing facials even when he wasn't facing the audience. Yeah, very eye-catching. But Peyton, let's talk about dance.
I'm mostly just gonna say some of the things that I like really liked about the performance and that stuck out. So first, honestly, right from the very beginning, it just had such a good start. The popping at the very beginning and the person in the center doing all of the isolations, it was just such an eye-catching start that it interested you right from the very beginning. It first of all was matching like the beat in the song super well, but also it was the way he was doing it because it really felt like he was almost breaking in his joints, like they weren't attached to the rest of his body. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, that's kind of weird, but also I'm kind of into it and I kind of want to keep watching to see what he does next. And there was like this weird contrast of like popping, like isolations, and then like fluidity. It was just a really great start. And then the next thing, oh my gosh, I don't know who it was, but someone did a tour and I literally in the reaction was like, and so a tour, in case you don't know, yes, is a turn in the air, and usually it's done by male ballet dancers. And the person who did this, wow, it was beautiful. His legs were crossed and his arms were into his chest so he would spin, and it was a double tour. And when he came out, he let his leg rond de jambe or like swing around out of it, and he carried into the next step, which was really impressive because usually if you're not used to doing that sort of movement, you either have to do the turn and then land and then go into the next movement to like get your bearings back, because you can't really spot those, you just have to do them. That's a lie. Technically you can spot them, but it's really hard. Or if you try to swing out of it and go into the next thing, you look kind of off balance, but he just like smoothly turned into the next thing and I was like, wow, I love it. The only honestly time where I was watching it and I felt like a little bit awkward was during the second song that they did. There's the part where they did the breakdancing, the basic breakdancing step on the floor, 2 of them, and then the person in the back did like an aerial move. The part on the floor just felt like a little awkward to me, and I don't know if it was the camera work or if it was just because it was a basic breakdancing step and they did it so slow and you saw them go into it that I was like, oh, I wish they'd done it like twice just really quickly or had just transitioned into it differently. But that was the only time where I was really like, oh wait, what? Because the rest of it I was really into it. And then also, yeah, the transition into One of a Kind, K is in the center, and that was how I found out it was K. And like you can just tell, I like looked at their profile, you can tell that he's older, probably has more experience than the other two, because he just really owns the stage, like Anna was saying. Like he owns the stage, and the transition into the third song I feel like is one of the highlight moments where you can really see that. But overall, I felt like they each had their moments to shine, and when they had their moments like as the center, as the focus, they really pulled focus to themselves, which is really important for a show like this because they're trying to get votes even if they are working as a team. And they were able, I felt like, to differentiate themselves even if they were all dressed basically the same. So like kudos to all of them because obviously they had worked really hard, and like this was actually like a really enjoyable stage to watch. So that being said, next!
Okay, so the second video we are watching, once again, I'm just reading the title, is from episode 11, part 2. 세 번째 test, third test, concept, Flame On by trainees Nikki, Daniel, Jay, Kay, and Hanbin. So, let's go!
It already feels dramatic. I already love it.
The volume is really low for some reason.
Yeah.
Why is it so quiet?
So K is the center.
Oh.
Because he's got the different colored shirt on.
Oh. so smart. The phrasing is interesting.
That's cool. The spiral.
Is K from
Ooh,
Korea?
that's cool. I don't know.
Because some of his diction is interesting.
You can tell that this is from later in the series, the way they're performing.
Who was that? I think they said their name was Nikki. That rundown was nice at the end of their line. Yeah, I like his voice the most. Nikki? Oh.
I think he made it into Enhypen.
Oh! Yay!
I think he's the maknae.
Oh! A
I like that
baby.
part. I mean, I could be wrong.
Okay.
His facials are just so good. Like, that was another great example.
Sorry, I feel like I look really serious, but it's just because I'm focused right now.
Interesting.
Group chant moment.
I really like that part when they all go backwards.
Like with the head?
Yeah.
Ah. The recoil.
테스트 종료.
Whoa.
I don't have too many like specific comments about the dance to say, just because in general it was pretty repetitive in terms of using the same choreography for verses and chorus, or for like pre-chorus and chorus. But there were a couple of moments that stood out that I wanted to point out as things that I really liked. So the first one I mentioned in the reaction, when they hinged backwards and then they all left Nikki standing there by himself. I really liked that part because one, it like matched what was happening in the song very well, but also I personally just really like when people hinge to the floor. It's in a lot of different styles of dance, but it's a Horton dance move. And it's just a really cool thing because your body's literally, the idea is that from like your knees you break and you go back flat. And so it's just a really cool thing to see. And then also I liked how they went in first with their arm and then they opened up. So it's kind of like blooming, or I was thinking about it in terms of like fire. And you know how like when you light a candle, it kind of gets a small ball and then it like bursts up. That's what I was thinking of. But then the second thing, the last group chant moment that they do, when they go to the floor for it, the last time they do it, they do a barrel turn to the floor. And so they like jump and turn and then they land forward and then they rock back. And that was my favorite way that they went to the floor, I think, just because it was the most impactful way to me. And then my last comment is just more of a general comment, and I kind of touched on it in the reaction. I said you can tell that this is later in the series because of how they're acting on stage. Their stage manner and how confident and how comfortable they are on stage has already improved so much. And Anna and I have talked about this before, but I don't know if it's ever actually made it into a video to the extent that we usually talk about it. So I'll say it here. A lot of trainees, their first time on stage is usually for their debut stage because they're used to doing monthly evaluations and performances like that, but they're not used to actually performing with the lights and the costumes and the makeup and the mics and all of that. And it really does make a difference. And once you start performing for like an audience or actually on a stage, you start to get better so much faster than if you're just in a practice studio all the time. And you can really tell that. I think it gives trainees who go through survival programs like this a little bit of a leg up on a debut because they're already so comfortable on stage by the time they get to their debut stage. And you could just tell, like, their facials were already better, they already looked more confident, their motions were bigger, then, yeah, their eyes, like, they have a gaze. They know to play with their costumes and, like, flirt with the audience. Like, Nikki, when he flips his jacket, I was like, boy, you're 15, okay? Calm down. But they just already look so much more natural, and you could definitely tell. Yeah, that's all I really had to say. Anna's turn.
So I actually have like more things to say because they're singing in this one. Wow. So just to clarify something that I said in the reaction, I asked if Kay was like a native Korean, like Korean was his first language, just because there are certain things in his diction that show that Korean is not his first language, because I looked it up, he is Japanese. I think the first line he sings, one of the words is 꺼지지 않은 불, and the ka part, it sounds like he's saying ka. So it's a very slight difference if you aren't super comfortable with Korean yet. It's really hard to know the difference. There's a difference between ka, and ga. And they're very
so
slight.
hard.
I know. So I feel bad that I'm being nitpicky. And especially with Kay, the reason why I noticed it more is because like my eyes were on him because we had just watched him in the previous video. Because I did notice things like that in other people in this performance as well. And I looked it up and it turns out they're not native Korean speakers either. It's not that it was super noticeable because I feel like if you didn't speak Korean, then it wouldn't be as noticeable. But because I speak Korean, I was able to tell. To elaborate on another thing I said in the video, I mentioned Nikki. I was like, oh, I really like his voice the most so far. Out of everyone in this performance, I think he and Daniel sounded the most stable for live vocals. However, I would rank Nikki's above Daniel's purely out of personal preference when it comes down to like tone quality and how it suits like the concept and like the style of the song as well, because Daniel does have a nice tone too and he was very stable, but Nikki's tone has more depth to it. Like it was more grounded and it felt fuller, and considering the style of the song, it's a more mature concept in the sense where it like goes really hard and like intensity and energy, and like especially in the chorus it's a very like grounded deep bass that's consistently playing, but the rest of the instrumental is pretty bare. Like there's not a lot of layers happening, so Nikki's tone, which is fuller, suits it better when you're considering like all the overall layers of the song and like how full the song feels. But that's my personal preference, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Anna, can you give us the TLDR for this video, please?
Yes, I will. So this was the first video episode of our Island week. It was really interesting to see these performances because honestly, like we had no idea what to expect. We literally know like nothing about Island besides it's a trainee survival show through Big Hit and Mnet. But I think that we were very much entertained and impressed with these performances. So let's see what the next 2 episodes have in store for us.
Yeah. But that being said, if you enjoyed this video, if you also, I don't know, watched Island or watched these performances, are excited for ENHYPEN's debut, love any of these trainees, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, ding, turn on your notification bell, and bye-bye.
Bye.